guys, I'm Hendo, and today I'm going to show you how I make a super easy mask out of Worbla. I know Worbla is kind of an expensive material, but it's honestly one of the easiest ways to make a mask. It's also becoming more and more available, both online and in stores, and you can buy much smaller sheets that are closer to $20 or $30. For how durable and easy it is, I think it's super worth it to make your mask out of Worbla. I'm going to show you how to make a pattern, shape your mask, and cover it with fabric if you want to. So let's make a thing! I have a pattern down in the description, which might be a good jumping off point, but if you want to know how to make your own, this is how I did it. It's going to be a lot of trial and error, so we plan on making lots of mistakes. Not mistakes, progress. First, I'm just taking a piece of paper to my face and then marking out where my eyes go. Make sure you pinch the paper at the nose just a little bit to make sure that you account for that space. Next, I'm sort of defining where it is that my eyes went and cutting out a loose shape of a mask. Now I'm going to hold that to my face and mark out what I really want my mask design to look like. Again, make sure that you pinch a little bit at the nose just to account for that space. I usually draw on both sides and just pick the half that I like better. It might also help to use a lighter color marker first and then define what you want with black. So I'm going to take the good side, fold my paper in half, and cut out a symmetrical mask. Now I'm going to transfer this pattern to foam. Paper's pretty flimsy, so I want to test it out with a material that's a little more stiff. And I'm just going to cut out this pattern and make adjustments as needed. If you don't have access to Worbla, you can always just stop here. You just might have to glue it in a few more places when you put it to your face. Okay, now I have my patterns all settled. The top one is actually a little bit more accurate, but the bottom one is more flattering. I think the pointiness gives a little bit more of a cat eye effect, and nobody's really ever commented on the accuracy. It's all about that subtle flattery. So I'm just going to cut this out and transfer it to Worbla. I should have heated the Worbla first to make sure that it was flat, but I forgot in this step. I did it afterwards, but luckily the shape didn't really change too much. But heat it flat first, don't be like me. I don't want to cut it out while it's still hot because it's likely to warp the shape. The outside is easy enough to cut while the Worbla's cool. I usually do heat up the eye part just a little bit so that I can cut a small slit into there. Once it's cooled off enough to not really warp too much, I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and cut out the eye. And now that it's all cut out, we're ready to shape it to our face. You're going to want to do the shaping all in one go. Doing it in parts is much more difficult. Black Worbla has a lower melting point, so it doesn't take too much heat to make it malleable. If it's too hot, it will A, burn your face, and B, probably be a little too malleable and droop in weird places that's going to be hard to fix. It's better that you don't heat your mask enough than that you heat it too much, because in that case you can just heat it again so that it lays flat and give it another go. So I'm staying a few inches away from the Worbla and heating it up as evenly as I can. In person it's a little easier to see the texture change when it goes from cool to warm. So now I'm going to touch it a bit with my hands and make sure that it's not too hot to be on my face. Now I'm just going to pick it up and place it on my face. You want to do so as quickly as possible so that gravity doesn't get a chance to make it droop. Gravity is a bully. If you're having a hard time picking it up with your fingers, you can always slide a piece of paper underneath and then just sort of let it go on your face. Once it's the right temperature, you're going to want to go ahead and lay that on your face while looking up. This will help keep your mask on your face and still let you shape it down. And just try and feel for it being straight. Once it's cooled off and it's just a little bit warm, you can go ahead and look forward into a mirror. Make sure your mask isn't too crooked and really define that shape. Press down on different parts of the mask to make sure it really forms to your face, especially at the bridge of the nose. Then I'm just going to hold this to my face and let it cool completely. Move your hands around a little bit while it cools so that you don't favor any one part too much. And now it's all done and it's really good at retaining your shape. And you can go ahead and seal and paint it. I usually just go straight to painting because I don't think that sealing is super necessary. If you do use a sealant, make sure that it's not an exothermic one. If it gets hot, it might warp the shape a little bit. Most of the time I just slap black paint on it and call it a day. Of course, Mountain Lady's mask is purple, and since I sewed my own costume, I have the fabric to make my mask exactly match my costume. Stretch fabric is the best to use because you don't have to worry about the edges fraying. This is a stretch spandex. I'm going to cover my mask in barge glue, but you can cover it in really any kind of glue. Just make sure that you apply it evenly so you can't really see any strokes. I don't recommend using hot glue because it'll add a bit of thickness to the mask and you have to work with it really quickly. I am not good at that. Hot glue is also a bully. Once it's all glued up, I'm just going to go ahead and add my fabric. I think that it's easiest if you start at the middle, right at the nose, and then move outwards. Another great thing about stretch fabric is that you can stretch it slightly as you go and make sure you don't have any creases or folds. And after it dries, go ahead and cut it out. And that's one nice crispy mask. There are a few ways that you can attach your mask to you. Probably the most professional way is to use Prose Aid. You can buy a little 1 ounce bottle online. This is used by a lot of FX artists. You want to use a small applicator like a Q-tip and make sure that you apply it to both the mask and the part of your face that it's attaching to. And wait for it to be tacky before you stick it on there. You can also use liquid latex or eyelash glue. I actually prefer to use fabric tape. It's kind of like a super sticky double-sided tape. It works pretty well as long as you don't have makeup on that spot. Whatever method you use, the nice thing about a Worbla mask is that it already has the shape of your face. So I feel like I don't have to attach it in as many places. And because of that, I can still move my face a lot. I usually prefer to attach my mask right in the center and on the sides. And I think this freedom of movement is really helpful for taking pictures and also for being able to express to your friends that you're having a good time. There's nothing worse than trying not to smile or laugh during a convention because it'll ruin your costume. But definitely do what works for you. If you're spending all day in costume at a convention, you might prefer to stick it in more places to make sure it really stays on there. I just always bring an extra roll of fabric tape with me. But anyway, yeah, that's it for the Worbla mask tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. If you use my free mask pattern, I just ask that you credit me the first time that you share it. No need to keep doing it after that. This will also help let me see and share your work. If you have other tutorials or characters you'd like to see me do, just let me know down in the comments. Or if you have other tips for how you like to make a mask, let me know too. But until next time, I'm Hendo. Thanks for crafting with me. Oh, I feel so naked without the mask. It looks weird without it. It's like a little austere.